The Gopher Coaches Show is presented by Window Concepts and Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union. Now, it's the Gopher Coaches Show with Dawn Plitzuweit and Ben Johnson.
Welcome in to the Gopher Coaches Show. I'm Ahmad, Hicks, joined by K-Fans Justin Gaard and new Gophers women's head basketball coach Dawn Plitzuweit. Coach, Happy New Year and thanks for joining us.
Happy New Year. Great to be here.
So, did you get a chance to celebrate the New Year last night like most humans, or were you working like most basketball coaches?
I was watching film, but my husband and I did watch a movie together while watching film. So
okay, so multitasking.
We celebrate, right,
okay,
right.
Got it. Coach, off to a blazing start this year. You guys had an 11 wins so far this season. Big games versus Yukon and Iowa. But I want to talk about this start. What has gotten into your women this year?
Well, our young ladies really care a great deal. We talk a lot about the toughness it takes to play at a high level and the togetherness. And I think at times we are working to figure out what that always looks like and what does toughness always look like and how do we remain together. But overall, I would say they have taken to that and they're doing a great job of finding a way, which is another really important message of ours.
That's beautiful.
As we talked after the Iowa game, I think you said that didn't feel like you, or what had been the first couple of months. So as you went back and watched it, I'm sure you did on the bus ride back from Iowa City and go over it. What did you learn or what did you diagnose on why maybe that wasn't your best performance?
You know, it's hard to know why. Is it because we really haven't been on the road yet this year? Is it because it was just we didn't play particularly well and our opponent played really, really well and then it was a big environment? Who knows? I don't exactly know. But I will say this. I do believe that our young ladies will respond with a great deal of changes in how we want to go about doing things. You know, sometimes you want something so badly, too, that you kind of get in your own way and you almost freeze. Mm-hmm. And at times it almost looked like we did that. And so I don't know exactly why it is, but hopefully we can get to the point where we can, when something doesn't go our way, we can bounce back a lot quicker than we did.
Well, it's a unique environment, right? I mean, it's 15,000 people. It is a show. It's a production. And even as prepared as you can be, sometimes you just have to go through situations like that, right?
Well, you do, and you go back as a coach and you think about all the teams that you've coached and who haven't played particularly well. And yet I thought the good thing was that as the game wore on, we started to play a little bit more like we're capable of playing. And so we started to get there in stretches, and that's going to be really important for us. And yes, you need to be in that environment. You can simulate it all you want, but it isn't quite the same in an empty Williams Arena simulating some sound and some noise and really being in that environment.
What are some of the advantages of playing a team like Iowa and a player like Caitlin Clark this early in the season for your team?
Well, I think it helps us learn a lot of what it takes. You know, we use that phrase a lot. It takes what it takes. Right. And understanding that we have to play at such a high level of intensity is going to be really, really important. And then you get to that point where you play really, really hard. Then you can start to adjust the other parts of it in terms of making adjustments to either how you guard certain actions or personnel or how you attack on the offensive end. But ultimately, you know, you can learn an awful lot of lessons from playing against a team like Iowa and a player like Caitlin Clark.
Now, Coach, I said this when we started the show, 11 wins this season. You guys started out on a tear. What have you learned from your team during this winning stretch of games? And just, did you expect all of this, the success to come this early?
Well, I think what we've learned about our young ladies is that they really do care a great deal and they want to be really good. And they understand, they know how to work really hard. Mm-hmm. If you go, and we can't brag about our grades too much yet because we don't have the final numbers, but we did have an incredible semester in the classroom. Mm-hmm. We've had a very good non-conference season thus far, or non-conference season, and now we're in the Big Ten, you know, play and Big Ten action. And so, yes, we had a setback. But the bottom line is that game is done and that game is over.
Right.
We can't redo it. We can't undo it. We can't go back and have another opportunity until we play them later in the year. But we do have an opportunity to play again on Wednesday. And so what's important is that we learn from it and we continue to climb.
Well, along the lines of it takes what it takes and just getting right back out there frequently to let people in, we have to kick Braun out of here to do this TV show going back to last year. She'd probably like to be here, right? But,
I'm sure she was just here 20 minutes ago.
Exactly right. Yep. But that's a player, and I'm sure you have a lot of them that are in here quite a bit. But Mara specifically, like, what's it been like working with her? She obviously had a big summer internationally and has had a great season for you so far.
She really has had a great season for us, and I believe she's going to continue to play at a very high level in a lot of different ways. You know, we talked a lot about Mara, someone who who's been known to be a shooting threat, a scoring threat, someone who can get to the rim on top of just shooting it. But she's also someone who really sets our defense and sets our intensity and makes a lot of things happen for us on that end of the court as well. And so I think we are someone, when she plays it so hard, that she has the ability to tell her teammates too, this is what it takes, this is where we have to get to. And we have a lot of young ladies who are kind of in that same age range, right, experience-wise. And so figuring out how to communicate those type of needs. What do we have to do to make adjustments? But her basketball IQ is so high that she's someone who can help her teammates on the court recognize this is how we have to make that adjustment.
What's your biggest challenge for Mara this season? We all know she's a prolific scorer. She leads the team. She's been scoring since she picked up a basketball, I feel like. But what do you want her to do more, whether that's on the court or off the court, for this Gophers program?
Well, I think understanding how to impact the game in so many different ways. We talk about her defensively, we talk about her leadership standpoint, but she is someone who has a huge impact on on our program when she's on the court playing, when she's in the gym and her teammates see her shooting. And she's also someone who is the face of our program in a lot of ways. I don't know how many Christmas texts I received that basically said, when do we get to meet Mara? And I thought, Merry Christmas to you too, right? But seriously, it's important that she is someone who does a great job of embracing all of that, and she certainly does.
Something I was reminded of in Iowa City, actually, was just how young this team still is. I'm sure it's something you can't really think about or obsess about because it is what it is, but you look at the Iowa roster, and they've got 4 or 5 players with over 100 starts. I think Mallory Heyer leads the Gophers, and it was like her 43rd or something like that. Point is, it's kind of hard to develop depth. It's kind of hard to develop a bench when you're playing so many different young players in big 30-minute roles. So how have you gone about trying to develop depth as this season has gone along?
Well, it's something that's really important for us, obviously, as at any time of the year, but now in Big Ten action especially. And what's really important is it a minute? Is it 2 minutes? Is it 4 minutes? Is it an 8-minute stretch? What is it? But whatever it is, get on the court and find a way to help us, make an impact on the game. Right. Maybe, and we talked about it even today, there are so many things that as a player we can do, our players can do to have an impact on the game in so many different ways. And so find that, own that, want that. Because again, when you're young, you've only seen so much.
Right.
You only have so many different experiences. And so our goal as coaches is try to help teach our players what some of those other things look like that they can do to help us have success.
Coach, being a new coach here, but having come from multiple different colleges, what is some of the biggest obstacles in getting a team to buy in and understand their roles and what you have a vision for here?
Well, it takes a little bit of time, obviously, to develop the understanding of what it takes, and then the skill to do that, and then the confidence to repeat it over and over and over again, and then do that in game action. And so it takes time to build all those things. It doesn't just happen as quickly as you want it to happen. And so remaining, I guess, relentlessly patient is probably something that you have to work on. That's a challenge. At the same time, understanding, trying to help our players understand what it's supposed to look like and what that environment is supposed to be and how we have to go about doing it. It all takes experiences, and that takes a little bit of time too.
And from what I understand, you're livening up the mood at practice. You guys have a little theme music that you play to get the girls going?
Right. Today may have to be my playlist, just so you guys know.
So what is your playlist?
Straight 90s.
Straight 90s the whole time?
That's really good.
I'm saying, you're old school guy
well,
too?
I mean, old school, I'm just in the 90s. I mean, I guess if the 90s are old school, Ahmad.
No, that's not old school.
That's where we are now.
That's
apparently.
good music,
Ahmad, we'll put some 2000s on just for you.
She's making me feel welcome already. I appreciate you, Coach. All right, now, one question that I want to have for you. You guys went out the country this past summer. What was that like? Where did you go? And what do you think a trip like that does for the chemistry of the team?
Right. Well, it's a great question. We had a chance to go to Croatia and to Greece, and we spent close to 2 weeks together, bonding, sharing experiences, and it was incredible. It really was. It was great for our ability to get to know each other off the basketball court, the ability to have fun together and do different things together, whether that's go boating together, swimming together, snorkeling together, whatever that looks like, bike rides, just those experiences are really, really important. and it's fun to be active. And then we also competed in a couple of those things, and we also had some community service while we were there. So all of those are great opportunities for us to get to know each other in a different way. And then on top of it, we also had a chance to play some basketball, and that kind of gave us a jump start into what practices look like, and tried to teach a little bit earlier than you normally would have a chance to do that. And so I think the great advantage for us, and we saw this at the end of the Iowa game, and this is probably what we built upon, is that we talk about toughness, and it takes a great deal of toughness. And do we have that? We didn't have that. We didn't. We have to learn what that looks like, and we need to go back and we need to adjust. Okay, we can learn from that. We can figure that out. But then there's a togetherness piece that it takes too. And that trip helps you build that togetherness. And what we saw late in the game was that we had great togetherness and great connectivity, and we stayed united. And that's going to be really, really important for us. So we're building, we're getting better. Sometimes you have to learn, through some challenging situations. That was a challenging situation.
Right.
But we'll learn from that. We really have full confidence in our players. That's why it's great. They're great students.
Right.
They're great students in the classroom. They're going to be great students, and they have been great students on the basketball court. It does carry over. The way you do anything is the way you do everything.
Got it. But Justin, we got to talk to Coach about getting on that trip in the next couple of years whenever they go back out to country.
I sent all my birthday, my social security,
I'm going to get you my passport information.
Well, we didn't have your
as soon as
passport number. I'm
possible.
sure that's what it was.
It's still at the front desk, probably.
We'll work on that for the
got
next
here.
trip. Now, Coach, you talk about experiences. I want to talk to you about another experience you guys had this year, taking on the Yukon Huskies. Obviously not the outcome that you wanted in that game, but I feel like there's always something to take from a loss.
Well, it helped us learn a lot of different things. One of them was, again, we played at such a high level from an intensity standpoint on the defensive end early in that game. Offensively, they're really tough to score on, and we didn't do as good of a job of maximizing some opportunities that we had, some open shots that we had and score opportunities. But then in the second half, we didn't do as good of a job defensively as we had in the first half. And so understanding, but again, that takes experiences too, because in the first half, you've just gone through a full review of all of it beforehand. You're right in front of the bench. Our bench can try to help direct and help you through some of those actions. When you haven't been through it before, now you're away from the bench and you're supposed to remember all of those type of things, it becomes a little bit more challenging. And that's something we have to get better at. It just is. And that's something that I think every defensive team that we've coached, we have said that is a major part of what it takes. That's a growth process. So great for us. I think great for our community. Great for us to have so many fans in the barn and to see our young ladies compete at a really high level. All really good things for us.
Well, and after that game, you grabbed the mic. You've done that a couple of times. I think you did that. It was Purdue or Drake. I can't remember, one of the two. And you've been pretty intentional about reminding people, like, we've got a lot more games and we'd love to see you. Why is that important to get out in front of the fans when you have that moment, in that present moment, to do it?
Well, we're not perfect, right? We have some losses. We have some opportunities to learn. But even when we win, we're not going to do everything right the whole time. But the bottom line is this group of young ladies plays their tails off.
Right.
They get after it. They are fun to watch. And they have great kind of electric type of personalities, too. So come watch. Come see. Come see. It's great. They're awesome.
Look at Coach giving you guys
right.
a reason to come out and watch the Golden Gophers this season. And we have one more reason, a player by the name of Sophie Hart. She came back home to join Minnesota. We'll talk with her on the other side of the break. Stay tuned.
You're watching the Gopher Coaches Show.
Yeah, we're rising up.
Welcome back to the Gopher Coaches Show. I'm Ahmad Hicks, Justin Gaard, Coach Plitzuweit, and Gopher starting center Sophie Hart. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I can't complain. It's a new year. We're all healthy. We're blessed. We're here. We're talking basketball. So, can't get any much better than this, right, Justin?
I'm good. How are you doing, though? Playing for the first time, really, in a couple of years, extensive minutes. You're over 20, about 25 starting. Obviously, you came back to play. So what's it been like just getting back on the court like this?
Yeah, it's been great. I really have to thank our staff here too, our athletic trainer, strength coach. Everyone's helping me, recover with just the body. But overall, I feel like the coaches did a good job conditioning us and preparing us for the season.
What's it like to put on the Golden Gophers uniform and to get to play for your home state?
It's so fun. I mean, I get to have my family at every game. We have family friends coming asking for tickets all the time. So it's just fun because they can make it and they can see it, and then I'll go out to eat after the game, and then playing with some of these girls who I played up, growing up against. I played Maggie since I was a fifth grader on an AAU team, so it's been very fun.
How hard was last season for you? Just being here, being with the team, not being able to go out there and do anything with them or contribute. What did you learn most about yourself from last season?
Yeah, I just had to trust the process, did a lot of individual workouts to kind of try to refine skills while I could. I played a lot of scout team for the team, so that was kind of fun. Got to play against them a lot of practice, but then just kind of, trying to stay with it, trying to stay with the process and knowing that my time was going to come.
Coach, you've talked a lot about Sophie's basketball intelligence. I don't know if you've told her that. Maybe that was a secret between you two. But
Sophie's really
between
smart.
us, she is.
She's very smart.
But you've talked about how she just plays with such a good mind. When did you realize that about her, and kind of take us into that a little bit?
Well, I think it was probably as we were prepping for opponents. So that probably would have started when we took our foreign tour and started asking specific questions about, do you want me to go over this, under this? Should I stay and help longer? Those type of questions. And really has done a great job of making plays on both ends of the court, but making plays defensively that not a lot of players see. She helps really well. She deflects. She gets around and makes shots difficult at the rim, finishes plays, rebounds at such a high level. That's just on the defensive end.
Right.
Now, Sophie, what's your biggest takeaway from Coach Plitzuweit since you've been here under her, and what do you think the biggest change from last year to this year is?
I think for me, I used to overcomplicate a lot of my moves, so we've really focused on kind of simplifying, posting deep, trying to turn and score, and just becoming really efficient.
What is it about this team that makes them so special and this bond unique for you young women that are off to a hot start this season?
Yeah, I think we're finding our stride very well together as a group. I feel like our chemistry has been really good too. As a post player, I need guards to pass into me, and I need them to be able to pass at a high level, so I just feel very thankful to play with such talented guards that can get the ball into me.
Sophie mentioned, Coach, the ability to play in front of friends and family. And this is another opportunity where you could talk directly to the camera, because it is interesting to see so many parents and families behind the bench. And I've seen that at different Big Ten towns, whether it's Iowa, whether it's Nebraska. I mean, it really does make a difference when you represent the state where you reside.
Well, it's incredible. And personally, had a son who played at the university when I was coaching there, and had a chance to see him and have family and friends come like our young ladies have. So it's incredible to have a daughter who doesn't play, where we have a chance to see her, and makes it a lot tougher to do that. So yes, you can see your child, your cousin, your niece, whoever it is, you can see them play it on live stream all you want, but it is way different when you can see them the night before the game, and you can spend time with them, and they can come home or they can go to dinner with you, or whatever the case is, and then afterwards they can be there in the stands. And you should see how many 52 jerseys we have in the stands behind us.
They're always there.
It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It is incredible. And so and then to spend time with them outside of it, it makes it just a totally different experience in college.
Yeah, the 52s. I know your dad wanted to make a T-shirt, Soph the Goph.
It's still in the process.
I heard you weren't totally on board with the Soph the Goph nickname. So how do we feel about? Can we get that on the record for
Soph
the
the
people?
Goph.
I wasn't at first, but it's grown on me a little bit.
It's worn you down?
Yeah, they're starting to use it a lot more. I know my teammates like to use it a lot too. Walking in the morning. Good morning, Sophie.
When she shows up to practice in the Golden Gopher mascot uniform, then we'll know she's taking it.
And the Golden heads there.
I haven't been offered one yet. So
okay, well, we'll work on that.
We'll work on that.
We will work on that for the next show that we have in a couple of weeks.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be really amazing. Just have her in the background, just ready to Soph the Goph.
Yeah.
All right, 20 seconds here, Sophie. What should fans expect from this team moving forward for the remainder of the season as you guys kind of get into your conference slate?
Yeah, I think we're going to go out. We're going to challenge some teams in the Big Ten. I think we're playing at a high level, and we're playing really well together. And so that gives me a lot of confidence, And we played some tough opponents in the preseason that's going to set us up for the Big Ten play, and just very excited. Hope that we see some of them there. Fill the barn back up. So, yeah.
All right, you heard Soph the Goph. She wants you guys to fill the barn back up. Some big games coming up in the conference slate, and we're actually going to talk about that on the other side of the break. So, Sophie, thank you for joining us.
Thanks,
Good luck the rest of the season, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you some more.
Thank you for having me.
All right, no problem. You guys stay tuned. More Gophers Coaches Show coming up.
Welcome back to the Gophers Coaches Show.
Welcome back to the Gophers Coaches Show. We burned our final timeout, JG, so we got to get going right now. Coach Plitzuweit joining us. Coach, big conference slate coming up for you guys. 4-14 in conference last season. I know you weren't here for that, but where do you want your team to improve most this year when conference play begins?
Well, that's a great question, because there's certainly a lot of categories on the basketball court overall. But again, it comes back to our toughness. We want to play with great toughness in all aspects. What does that look like? And trying to define that, and then have great togetherness. If we really believe, and you heard Sophie talk a little bit about it, we try to be intentional about focusing on the process of what it takes to get better. And then when you do that, the results come at some point in time. When exactly is that going to be? I don't know. I know that when I look at all the games coming up and you start with Maryland, it's like, whoa, these teams are so tough. How do you find ways to compete and be competitive? And Sophie talked about that. We want to be competitive within the Big Ten and see what happens.
Yeah, the Big Ten waits for nobody, right? Maryland doesn't care that you lost to Iowa, right? And so we've got to turn the page. What do we know about these Terrapins? I know they just lost down in Lincoln on Sunday against Nebraska. So obviously one of the premier programs in the country in the Big Ten since Coach Freeze has been there.
Right. Certainly Maryland is a team that plays with incredible pace and incredible toughness. So they score 80-some points a game, 82 points a game. They do it at a 44% clip, and they get to the free throw line 23 times a game, and they get offensive rebounds on top of that. So they average 14, 15 offensive rebounds a game. So they play almost relentlessly on the offensive end, just attacking you at all times. They can't shoot it from the arc, too, so that makes it really tough. On the defensive end, they force 18-plus turnovers a game. They're all about the same size, length, athleticism. They can switch a lot. They can put you in tough situations because they can change their defenses in a lot of different ways. They keep pressure on you all the time, and so that's something that I don't know that we've faced anyone who really plays like that, so that's going to be a challenge from the beginning. But then also their speed, their athleticism, their size, their toughness, all of it is a great challenge.
So basically what you're trying to say is it'll be a walk in the park for your team when you play Maryland.
Yeah, I'm saying everything but that is what I'm saying at this point in time.
Well, that's Coach Plitzuweit. That's Justin Gaard. I'm Ahmad Hicks. Coach, thank you so much for joining us this week one with Coach Plitzuweit. More to come for this basketball season. This is the Gopher Coaches Show. You all have a good rest of your day.